What's up, pals and gals of the YouTube world? It's your boy, the Ep.27, and we are back. That's right, I would very much like to be the first to welcome you back to another riveting segment of Figure Friday. Oh, I'm sure you know, that special time of the day when we spend some quality time together and talk about all in one segment. And, well, I try to cram as much as possible, but I don't want to cram too much because, yeah, I know that I don't want to issue like any kind of spoilers or anything like that because I try my best to stray away from that point because I don't really think that issuing spoilers is a good thing. That does not make you a good person because trust me, I don't want to be labeled as a person like that. But um, before the holiest moments, as you know, we here at this Wolfpack, we care about, I care about all you guys and all my individual members. Um, I am saddened to say I looked at my stats today and I noticed that I did lose a subscriber. That's a sad face. But I have no harsh feelings towards that person. You know, I understand that everyone has their own likes, everyone has their own things, and I do wish that person the best. But that's not going to discourage me and stop me. I'm going to keep going and keep pushing on this channel as much as possible. Everyone is free to come and go as they please. And I mean, I do appreciate everybody who has stayed with me. But please, if you haven't already, do your boy a favor. Go ahead and go get yourself something to eat or something to drink if you haven't already, or if you like, just grab a snack. Because as you know, I would prefer you guys to be in a more relaxed state. And please, I'll be right here waiting. So please do me a favor and have something to eat, something to snack on. Because as you know, I'll be right here waiting. And I do hope that you guys are having a good day. Now, uh, since we're on only 2 minutes in, since we like to start the 3 minute marker, I would like to first say that I'm happy that I got a day off today, mainly because it's 4th of July weekend, and oh man, I cannot wait. I have not procured any fireworks yet, but that is definitely going to change. You better believe it. And I just want to say I hope you guys are out there handling quarantine well. And I did procure a piece of new clothing today, as you know, and I'm very happy with it. The color, the texture. It's a dragon kanji, if I remember. It's dragon kanji or dragon painting, and of course here there's a samurai armor, and of course the color scheme is black and red. You know, that's two of my favorite colors because I think that they mesh so well together. It just looks very good. Oh my goodness. And oh, also, for those of you guys who are still under quarantine, if you're under lockdown, or if you're out there handling it as an essential employee, I hope that you're killing it. And for those of you guys who are under lockdown or just working from home, I do hope that you're staying safe and remembering to keep your hands washed and wear those face masks to protect everybody from everybody. Not that it's a bad thing, but so this way we help to stop the spread, of this COVID stuff that we're still under, and apparently it's still rising out there. So, yeah. But I'm sorry, I didn't even see the time. Woo! I do hope that you guys are relaxed because, as you know, I'm happy that you're back. It's very good. I'm glad you're back. I hope that you join me in tonight's episode, and please sit back, relax, take a deep breath. Because, as you know, it's just you, me, and the merchandise of tonight. So, for tonight's episode, we are actually going to be taking a walk into the world of movies and television. But at the same time, we're taking a trip down memory lane because today we're talking about a old familiar movie that I had seen the first. It's a kind of a 4-part series, I think, mainly because we're talking about the older movies before the new movies. And I'm happy to say I did see all 3 of these movies. The 4th one was, all right, I guess. Yeah. And as we we're introducing a pair of Funkos tonight, and sort of a big, sort of rivalry between these two, mainly because it dates back to the 1960s, because that was when, on one of those fateful days or fateful weeks during that day, when 2 individuals blazed a trail in a single movie series that helped, solidify who they are, where they came from, why everybody knows them, and what they're famous for. And I do hope that you guys will join me in helping me to welcome these 2 members into the Wolfpack tonight. So, it's going to be a sort of hero and villain type scheme. I mean, I kind of feel like it's hero and or even just like hero and bully or something like that. Because in a way, we're going to be talking about a movie and a television series all at the same time, because they basically come out of the same universe because they have two of the same familiar faces. But first up, they come out of the same universe because they have two of the same familiar faces. But first up, I thought we'd go ahead and introduce the hero of said rivalry. And this particular character was born in Newark, New Jersey, in the 1960s to an Italian/American family. And however, he had sort of a rough childhood. You know, he lost his father when he was at the ripe tender age of, I believe it was 8 years old, 8 or 9, I can't remember. But he did lose said father due to stomach cancer, along with last words being, "I love you, son, and don't ever forget that." Mainly because at that age, you know, he was always a sort of, how can I put this? A more kindred spirit, you know, because he didn't really like to get involved with a bad crowd. But that was only because his mother, she seemed to want to, how can I put? She seemed to kind of shield him until she felt like he was ready to leave the nest. But that's not to say that he didn't, you know, particularly grow up, because he did. And I mean, this is killing me. But yeah, this particular individual, he did move from the current setting of which he was today, and of course into the new settings, which of course was Reseda, California. Was that right? Was that right? I can't remember. Yes, it was. Just now, because I remember, ironically, I watched the first of these 3 movie series today, and it's just been a while, you know, because I saw them when they were actually on television, and I thought, wow, I have to watch this because mainly, ironically, this is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. But yeah, this particular individual, he did, as I said, he did have a good upbringing. His father was good to him. His mother was always good to him. Gave him everything, and the fact that he's the hero of said movies that I'm talking about, and in a way gets introduced in the future television series that I'm about to speak of. But that's in the next session, which of course we'll be talking about the other Funko. I do hope that you guys will help me give a warm welcome to the next. Let me run that back to the current Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso. That's right, folks, the Daniel LaRusso Funko. Now, I know it says Cobra Kai up here at the top, but we're actually going to be talking about the movies, the Karate Kid, and of course this bringing his upbringing into how he was introduced, and of course it's all going to be leading up to the Cobra Kai TV series, which we're going to talk about also. So. Let's get Mr. LaRusso out of there. Did he come on the stand? Now, at the very beginning of, let me just adjust this real quick because I hate having to lean down. Huh, that's better. Okay. Now, let me just give you guys a look here. Wow, I love this little symbol he's got on the back of his karate gi. There we go. Come on, Danny boy, focus for me. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now, some history about this young man here. Just after the death of his father, as I said, growing up in Newark, he moved with his mother to Reseda, California, and it seems to be, to me, kind of a morbid beginning. Hold on, let me show you guys the little symbol right there. See, it's a bonsai tree. Now, as I said, he's rocking that patented headband, which of course was given to him by his first teacher and mentor, which was Mr. Miyagi, which of course was the one who introduced him into karate and helped him to see what its main purposes was, which of course helped him to find his inner peace. Okay, let me just put you right here, Danny. Don't fall over, please. You gonna stand? Are you gonna stand? Okay. Now, as I said, I know in the beginning it seemed like the movie sort of started out morbid. You know, old Danny boy here, he lost his father. He was only 8 years old, and all he had left was his mother. But that's not to say that this movie has a terrible ending. Because if it wasn't for the fact that, to me, I feel like the movie actually has a sort of message as like heart and inner strength. And the only reason I say that is because due to the fact that Daniel here he had made a great living in Reseda, living with his mother. He did start the school in Reseda, California High. He did make friends with some of the kids, and he actually caught the attention of a girl. I believe her name was Allie. I didn't get to read that much into her because I wasn't focused on her, folks. Please forgive me. But and in doing so, that actually caught the attention of a very arrogant and jealous ex-boyfriend of hers. My apologies. We're not going to talk about him though. We're talking about Danny, because if it wasn't for the fact that for the bullying, then Danny here, he would never really have had the courage to find out he needed to be able to defend himself. However, with the help of an unlikely ally in the form of a handyman, enter Mr. Miyagi, who on Halloween night during that movie series had actually saved him from the bullies and leader. And and in doing so, Mr. Miyagi, he swoops in like a ninja, and he basically single-handedly takes out an entire crew of these guys. If I remember right, there's about 5 or 6 of them. But in doing so, he used his superior karate skills. I can't pinpoint style of which he was using, but it was superior to the fact that the bullies that were using it was more savage, if you will. But in doing so, once Danny's training had begun, I know it seemed like it was more of sort of like household chores, if you will, but they were who seemed like they were trivial, meaningless. Made him feel like he was Mr. Miyagi's slave, if you will. If it wasn't for the fact that thanks to Mr. Miyagi's teachings and sort of Zen-like presence, he was shown that each an individual step and movement that he took had actually showed repetition along with strength, in which, of course, he uses throughout the tournament that he was entered in by Mr. Miyagi he uses it, and at the same time, he proves the fact that through all the adversity and the bullying, which of course he endured, that he was able to defeat his enemies and achieve victory, and in winning the tournament and proving that even the underdog, everyone who counts him out, even though you feel like you're outnumbered, you can still rise up, you can be your best, you can show your best, and you can always come out on top as long as you keep your head still, be zen, and just keep going and don't give up no matter what. I'll give you guys one last look at old Danny boy here, because as I said, he did also reappear in the oh, come on, focus on me, focus, come on, focus. There we go. Oh no, we lost it. Wait, there it is. Yeah, okay. Let me show you guys the bonsai tree. Now, the bonsai tree, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to veer off point here, folks. I just want to recognize the symbol. Okay. Now, to me, it's the bonsai tree. I just want to gush about this a little bit. To me, the bonsai tree, it's said that it represents many things. It can represent, as I said, strength. It can represent balance and inner strength, if you will. Because they say that the stronger the roots of the bonsai tree, that basically means the stronger of your heart. Because if it wasn't for the fact that I had seen many instances of which, like in the third Karate Kid film, the bonsai tree, spoilers about this, folks, for those who haven't seen it, I apologize. It actually a bonsai tree ends up getting ripped in half by a bully, which of course, enter, Daniel LaRusso. And if it wasn't for the fact that Mr. Miyagi, him being the expert caretaker that he is, and it shows that him being able to take care and rebalance the bonsai tree, it shows that no cause is lost, and the fact that you are only as strong as the roots that you have dug, and that's just one of the main things that I've seen and heard when it comes down to being Zen or having like a Zen-like presence. because this way it helps you keep patience and understanding. Man, I gotta slow down here, folks. That was a lot to talk about. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna shift gears here. So Danny, just stay right there for me. Okay. Next up, don't worry, we're gonna gush more. Just stay with me, folks. Stay with me. Next up, we are going to take a look at the one who was, the main contributor of the bullying that young Daniel here had to endure, and the main cause of it, which of course, which is one of the, he's basically the main character of the newest YouTube sensation, which of course is taking the world, which took the world by storm, mainly because no one really ever expected this to happen. And I'm happy to say that I watched the first 2 episodes only of the first season, but that was only all I could afford because I don't have YouTube Red. But I did see a lot of extra videos when it comes down to it, and I ain't gonna lie, I am blown away by it. So please forgive me on this, folks, if you haven't seen it. Some spoilers will be issued, so please forgive me. Please forgive me. Okay, now, which show do I speak of, or which you ask? Well, it's none other than the Cobra Kai, folks. That's right. The story is set about roughly 34 years into the future. That's after the original Karate Kid film, the very first one, had taken place. Now, I'm happy to say that both characters, the main characters, are reprising their roles. However, in this one, it follows the story of the villain, if you will, Johnny Lawrence, folks. That's right. Cobra Kai's Sensei, John Lawrence. As I said, that's right, folks. The newest owner of the Cobra Kai crew, Sensei Johnny Lawrence. And of course, the loser of the first All Valley tournament. Sorry for the noise. Here we go. Let me just get you guys a look at him. There he is, sporting the all-black Cobra Kai uniform. Let me give you guys a look here at the back, of course. With every karate gi, their symbol is imprinted on the back, which of course just shows their crew, their team, who they are, and if it focuses, there we go. I apologize for my shakiness; it's killing me. But yeah, I love the fact that that black headband. I think it goes with the Cobra Kai gi here. It looks so good. But yeah, a little history about our guy here. Born in 1967. Whoa, stay. Born in 1967. Stay there. Never. He grew up. He didn't really know his father, and he moved after moving to Encino, California. After his mother married a very successful Hollywood producer. The funny thing is that he was actually abusive towards Johnny, mainly verbally. Physically, I can't say, but he was mainly verbally abusive. However, if it wasn't for the fact that at the ripe age of 12 years old, back in the year 1979, it was actually one thing that helped him when he was out riding on a nice sunny day in Encino, California. There was actually one thing that he was able to discover, and in doing so, it helped him to basically find out who he is and what he's good at. Now, the reason I say what it is because it's actually the Cobra Kai Dojo. And to me, I feel like he did have a bright future. It's just he kind of squanders it, and I'll tell you why. Like I said, this happened when he was 12 years old, and he spent the next 5 years training under the old sensei, which of course John Kreese. And of course, the main villain, which is one of the many villains in the Karate Kid movie, the first one, and I can't remember. He was in the second and the third, but that was when he decided to make a comeback, and he did make one final cameo, and I'll tell you about that. However, his story does kind of get a little sad. As the years sort of progressed for poor Johnny here, his mother actually died back in 2002, and he ended up, sort of turning into a down on his luck, alcoholic loner. I mean, since losing the tourney to, well, you guessed it, Danny LaRusso. And he did kind of find his way. I mean, he didn't really drop down and just give up, which I kind of applaud him for that. He did find work as a local handyman. However, it didn't last very long. I mean, he was living in San Fernando Valley and he lost his job because of getting into a very heated debate with a customer. However, there was one fateful night in which, of course, he helped to rediscover who he was and what he was good at. Because when it was outside of a Quickie Mart or sort of a gas station type deal, I don't know, I can't remember. It was in the first episode. How could I not remember? But either way, there was a moment where he would actually rescue one of his teenage neighbors. His name was Miguel, and he was being bullied by a group of witch bullies, which of course they shoved him into his Pontiac Firebird, and in doing so, that engaged Johnny, and it was the fact that if it weren't for that particular instance, he wouldn't have been able to demonstrate the very thing that he never lost, which of course was karate. Even though this movie was set 34 years into the future, him being in his 50s, I mean, come on. The fact that the guy can still hold his own and, do a jump kick, I mean, that says a lot, due to the fact that, he may be an alcoholic, but hey, he can still keep up with himself, which is good. And upon seeing, the skill that young Miguel had seen from Mr. Johnny Lawrence here, he basically I don't think he begs, but he does ask him to be able to teach him, which of course Johnny agrees, and to teach him and learn him the Cobra Kai way. However, he doesn't really want to sort of model his karate after the brutal tactics of the Cobra Kai, of the old Cobra Kai way, which of course was John Kreese's way. Now, he does reopen the old Cobra Kai dojo, which is a good thing. However, when he tries to enter it into the All Valley tournament the first time, he's turned down, mainly because of the excessive history, the bad history the Cobra Kai name has endured, which of course thanks to John Kreese and Terry Silver. Terry Silver being, of course, the main villain in the third Karate Kid film, which of course I highly recommend that one too. It's very good. But yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that his very first student, Miguel, hadn't shown what he had learned when he was in high school to defend himself against the same bullies in the lunchroom, and in demonstrating the skill and tactics that Johnny had taught him, even though one of the memorable quotes in that film, which of course was said to the bullies, telling Miguel, is like, "I'm ready for your lame ass karate." And as he took a swing at Miguel, he catches him and he counters it, saying, "It's not lame ass karate, man. It's Cobra Kai." But hey, I like that quote. It's very good. I thought it was pretty cool, very clever too. And if it wasn't for the fact that in doing so, he actually helps a lot of his schoolmates and classmates flock to the Cobra Kai dojo, and in doing so, to help him sort of reignite the Cobra Kai flame, and in doing so, it helps him pay for the other students that he takes under his wing. But it's not for the fact that he does go on to take an elite crew of fighters to the All Valley tournament. They enter, and he does win the championship, which he was denied so many years ago. Sorry, couldn't get the words out. Thanks to his students, he kind of felt like the brutal tactics had sort of not really left, mainly because one of his students had initiated an illegal shoulder move, and of course in doing so he injured one of the other fighters, which of course was on the rival team, which of course the leader was Sensei Daniel LaRusso. I know, ironic, right? But after which, of course, winning the tournament, taking home that trophy, he still went back to his dojo and he celebrated, had a night of drinking, a few drinks, and he didn't, get extremely drunk, but there was one fateful night where in the dojo, he feels sort of a very, familiar chill in the wind. Now, the only reason I say that is because if it wasn't for the fact that at the end of I can't remember which episode it was, but there is a very familiar face that shows up at the end of the episode and steps into the dojo. However, Johnny feels like he sees a ghost because, as you guessed it, it is in the form of John Kreese, who, I mean, ironically, he congratulates him because in the second film, he ridicules him, he almost kills him, and he broke his trophy, telling him he was a failure and a loser. But upon seeing his dojo, back in action and thriving, he feels as though he can help Sensei Johnny here carry Cobra Kai into the future, which to me, it spells bad news because I really don't think it does. That's just, no, that's a no-go. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, Johnny, why you gotta fall? But yeah, I'll give you guys one last look at him. He's ready to fight. But yeah, Johnny and Daniel, there was an instance where I thought was pretty cool, where Danny actually showed up to the Cobra Kai dojo to confront Johnny on something that happened with one of his students and his daughter, I believe, his daughter or his other son. And in doing so, I thought was pretty cool because there was a moment where they had a small tiff, and Daniel actually steps onto the fighting mat. And to me, it's just, I thought, oh, then they're gonna reignite, they're gonna throw it down right now. But it's okay, Danny, he steps back because he knows what's more important. Because in the film, or in the YouTube series, my apologies, he's got a family now, a wife, 2 kids. But that's not to rule out Johnny here. He does have a teenage son, but he kind of, fun fact about him, he grew distant away from him. Mainly that was due to his drinking and all that other stuff. But that's not to say, he's not a bad father. He's trying to find his way back, and which is doing so. Fun activity, by, opening a Cobra Kai dojo. But that's beside the point. But yeah, that was the pair, one of the biggest rivalries in history, and I do hope you guys enjoyed tonight. But before we end the series, I do once again apologize, folks, because I did finish a gameplay video featuring Fujin. It will be uploaded later tonight, and I do apologize for procrastinating so much on it. I've been so busy, folks, so busy. But I do hope that you guys enjoy the scene series, which of course I talked about. I'm sorry. And also, before I forget, I do hope that you guys have a safe and happy 4th of July tomorrow. And I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's tonight. And if you like, feel free to hit the follow button when it's posted right here. And feel free to sample either one of these videos when they appear. I do appreciate those of you guys who came to chill with me. And I do hope that you guys, until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, stay weird. Lávase las manos, por favor. And be yourselves, huh? Peace.